Drought in Somalia. Nearly half the country's population is going hungry. Children are dying.
He died because of the drought. We buried him 15 days ago. He was 8 years old. Starvation got worse, and so he died.
These children are fighting for their survival. From every corner of Somalia, they are brought to the capital, Mogadishu, to Banadir Hospital, if they make it that far. Little Amina Abdi is the most critical patient in the pediatric ward. She's been comatose for days.
Amina Abdi now, she is 7 kg. Normally she was supposed to be 16 kg. She came with severe acute malnutrition with critical condition, which is called a shock. Now she is a terminal case.
A terminal case at age 4. Another victim of the devastating drought that has left the population without the most basic necessities of life. A severely malnourished child arrives at a Somali clinic every minute on average, according to the United Nations. Amina's mother and aunt haven't left her side for days. The two women have already lost 3 children between them so far this year. The drought has devastated their lives.
We had farms and livestock, but we lost everything to the drought and lack of water.
When the animals died, she says, there was the beginning of the end.
For 3 years, we've been struggling against the drought. When it got worse, we had to come here into the city.
The United Nations warns that by mid-2023, as many as 500,000 children under the age of 5 could die. Relief organizations all agree this is the most devastating drought in 40 years. 4 rainy seasons in a row have failed to materialize, and now there's reason to fear that most of the 5th will likely follow suit. It's a disaster for Somalia's herders, who depend on the rains. Once the undernourished mothers stop giving milk, their infants begin to starve. Malnutrition starts with vomiting, diarrhea and fevers. Often the parents don't connect the symptoms with hunger. By the time they realize it, it may be too late, says Dr. Hassan.
Cases are coming in a terminal stage, so some of them, they may die, whatever you do.
During the first 2 years, good nutrition is especially critical, as this is the most important phase in the development of a child's brain. Dr. Hassan confirms that malnourished children are highly likely to grow up with cognitive impairment.
This malnourished child, he will not be a good president because of malnutrition. He will not be a good MB. What we worry about here, even not only for his productivity of economic productivity, as well as learning ability, but we are also worried about for their future leadership.
We talk to Hussein, who's here with his 2-month-old daughter, Rukiyu. He tells us he was a farmer until the Islamist Al-Shabaab militia confiscated his land.
They harass people. They take your livestock and force you to join them. They say we should be fighting alongside them. And anyway, our livestock perished because of the drought.
Militant Islamist group Al-Shabaab controls broad swathes of Somalia and relentlessly terrorizes the population with brutal attacks. Hussein says his own village in central Somalia has been under Al-Shabaab control for some 13 years. Since he fled, relatives tell him the situation has been worsening every day. People are starving and don't have enough water for their needs.
There's no aid there. The government won't go there, and international aid can't reach there, and Al-Shabaab wouldn't help anyone anyway.
A few weeks before, Al-Shabaab had staged its worst attack in 5 years. 2 car bombs detonated at a busy intersection in Mogadishu, killing over 120 people. It was the same intersection where another attack 5 years before took over 500 lives. The increase in the group's violence comes in response to the government's large-scale offensive against the rebels. 240 kilometers from the capital, in Baidoa, hundreds of thousands of people have sought refuge. Added to the city's own population of some 800,000 are nearly the same number of internally displaced people. According to the city administration, their numbers are expected to reach 1 million by year's end. One of those displaced people is Hawa Isaac Moalim. After her camels died of thirst half a year ago, she and her 5 children fled to the camp.
We came here a long time ago because of the famine, but so far we haven't received any help. We hardly get any food or water. It's very hard living here.
She tells us that a few weeks before, her son Hassan Isaac fell ill. He had whooping cough, vomiting and diarrhea. The pills he was given didn't help any.
He died because of the drought. We buried him 15 days ago. He was 8 years old. The starvation got worse, and so he died.
The UN Children's Relief Agency, UNICEF, estimates that almost twice as many children will have died of hunger this year than the last. But so far, there are no dependable figures.
We have 500,000 children that are severely acutely malnourished, which basically means that if they don't receive assistance timely, they are just simply going to die.
According to the UN, $1 billion worth of humanitarian aid is urgently needed. Far more funding would be flowing into the country if the Somali government officially declared a famine. But it's hesitating, worried that such a move could enhance al-Shabaab's influence. Humanitarian organizations are warning that some regions have already crossed the threshold into famine conditions. In 2011, during one of the worst droughts in Somalia's history, over 250,000 people died, half of them before the famine was officially declared.
And we don't have to wait for famine to be projected. We're already seeing in 2011, by the time famine was projected, already 260,000 people have died, half of them are children.
In 2011, al-Shabaab held large parts of Somalia, making them inaccessible to aid. That included the city of Baidoa. This time, Mayor Abdullahi Watin and Police Chief Mohammed Mukhtar are doing what they can to keep al-Shabaab out. Even so, the militia isn't far away.
We're at high alert day and night, so we don't get ambushed. Have they let up at all? The pressure is let up somewhat, but yesterday evening it was bad.
The al-Shabaab militias are present just 30 kilometers outside of town. Daily police patrols are designed to give people a feeling of security. Al-Shabaab was the authority here until the government took the city back in 2012. Militias loyal to the government like this one pitch in to help, and the population supports them. We met up with them in a hideout somewhere in Baidoa. Here they say they're planning their next attack on al-Shabaab. Their commander is a former al-Shabaab fighter himself.
Back then, in my younger days, they had control of the country. There was a lot of unemployment and little opportunity.
After a few years as an active fighter, he worked as a so-called tax collector, extorting money from shopkeepers and farmers, he says. But after almost 10 years in the group and witnessing torture and public executions, doubts begin to take hold of him.
I realized they had no intention of establishing any government or rule of law. Bloodshed was normalized.
He had to leave his family behind. His wife was then forced to marry another fighter. And now he's afraid al-Shabaab will soon be recruiting his son into its ranks. They had no way to flee. Neither do about 1 million other people trapped in the areas controlled by Al-Shabaab without access to aid. Al-Shabaab is aggravating the crisis, taking what little the starving population has left and holding them hostage in their territories. Aid organizations are warning that most of the famine's victims could be in these areas. Baidoa's mayor, Watin, says he's had enough short-sighted solutions.
Somalia is one of the affected areas by the climate change. But what will happen after the drought ends? Do we wait until another famine comes, or we still come up with initiatives that we need to mitigate future shocks?
African countries together contribute less than 3% of all global greenhouse gas emissions, yet they are the worst affected by climate change. And the first to feel those effects are the children. In Baidoa's hospital, little Mariam fights for her life. At about 18 months, the baby girl weighs only about half as much as a healthy child her age. She has all the typical symptoms of malnutrition: vomiting, diarrhea, and whooping cough. The waiting is hard for her mother and aunt to bear.
I'm very sad for my sister. I pray to Allah that the baby will recover, and also that He will relieve the drought.
Nearby, Faduma Hussein feeds her granddaughter therapeutic milk formula. She's been caring for the 8-month-old baby since both parents died.
She's doing better, thanks to Allah. The fever, vomiting, and diarrhea have stopped. I'm hoping she'll make a complete recovery and one day have the opportunity for an education and be able to help the Somali population.
It's a hope that many families share. Grandmother Faduma is doing what she can to make it come true.